Okay, we're taking a look at PrepTest 80 game number 2. This isn't a terrible game. It's a sequencing game. We got 7 chapters, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We got 7 clues. They're going to be sticking into this mystery novel. I don't know what kind of book has 7 chapters. That seems like a really low number of chapters. Each chapter would have to be like 50 pages long. But anyway, we have some pretty concrete clues. T can't be in the first slot. T is going to come before W, and there's exactly 2 chapters between them. T blank blank W. You want to be able to write that out in a way that's meaningful to you. S and Z cannot be next to each other. So no SZ, but also no ZS. Make sure you write down both. W and X can't be next to each other. So no WX, no XW, and U and X are definitely next to each other. They're in adjacent chapters. UX or XU, we don't know which way it goes, so make sure you write down both of them. If you take a look at the questions on this particular game, you'll see 6 total questions. 3 of them begin with the word if. And the word if is a good indicator that you're supposed to be doing the work in the context of the game itself and not worry about a whole lot of deductions up front. And here, there's not going to be a ton of deductions. Obviously, TW is very limited in where it can go. T can't go into slot number 1, but did TW go in 2 and 5, or 3 and 6, or 4 and 7? You don't know. And even if you knew where T and W were, you wouldn't know where U and X were. You know, if T and W went in 3 and 6, are the U and X going in 1 and 2 or 4 and 5? There's no point spending much time at the beginning of the game speculating about such things. The questions indicate there aren't many deductions. Don't sit around trying to do deductions on this game. Rush right into the questions. So the first question is almost always based upon the rules. This one is no exception. We're going to go through these one rule at a time. Don't take all 5 rules and check them against A, and all 5 rules and check them against B, and all 5 rules, because you might end up checking the rules. You know, if the answer turns out to be E, by the time you get down to E, you'll have checked the rules 25 times. Instead, take each rule one rule at a time and check them against all of the answer choices. So the very first one, T can't be first. Well, answer choice B is gone very, very quickly because it's got T going first. Now, I need exactly 2 spaces between T and W. Answer choice A has 3 spaces between T and W, so that's gone. All the others seem to check out. I can't have S and Z next to each other, but in our 3 remaining answer choices, S and Z are not next to each other. I can't have W and X next to each other. And in answer choice E, W and X are next to each other. And then finally, U and X do need to be next to each other. C does not have that. The answer is D. Go through one rule at a time, quickly, effectively. Get that shit done. All right, on we go. Question number 7. X is mentioned in chapter 1. What could be true? So we take X, we put it in chapter 1. Now, this is where people tend to get frustrated because they put X in chapter number 1. They take a look at the rules. They go, all right, what do I got here? All right, I know it's next to U. Well, if that's X, I know that's U. And then they go through and go, oh, I don't know anything else. Yes, you do. You still got this TW. When you've got a giant unit of things, giant units of things can't go many places. And T and W are now either going 3 and 6 and 4 and 7. And don't sit there and try and juggle that information in your head. Do one quick sketch quickly that's TW there. Drop a line down. And then one here. That's why we put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 across the top so that we can quickly test answer choices. If you ever hit a point in a game on a question where you don't know which one of 2 ways it can go, well, as Yogi Berra said, when you get to the fork in the road, take it. Do both. Let's take a look at what we got here. Now, a lot of people lose track of who they've used and who they have not used on a game like this. We've used X, U, T, and W. Who have we not used yet? Well, we haven't used R. We haven't used S. We haven't used Z. Write them off to the side just so you can keep track of them. Now, think about who's being affected here. Take a look at your rules. S and Z can't be together. and you do have S and Z left over to go into this game. Well, if S and Z can't be together, then I can't have both S and Z in 4 and 5, and that means one of S or Z must be in slot number 7 just to keep it away from the other one. The same thing applies here. I can't have both S and Z in 5 and 6, so one of S or Z is going over here, and then R is going somewhere here, R is going somewhere here with one of S or Z. I don't know which. It's too much speculation at that point, but we have enough to answer the question. This is just a could be true, and could be true questions are asking about the stuff you don't know. Don't feel compelled to complete the sketch. So take a look at answer choice A. R is mentioned in 3. No, I know 3 is either T or S or Z. B, R is mentioned in 7. No, 7 is S or Z or W. C, S is mentioned in 2. Nope, 2 is definitely going to be U. D, W is mentioned in 5. No, W is definitely in 6 or 7, depending upon which sketch we're in. By process of elimination, has to be E. Z is mentioned in Chapter 3. Z could be mentioned in Chapter 3. It's a possibility right there. Drop the line down, on to the next question. Question number 8. If U is mentioned in Chapter 3, all right, we stick U in Chapter 3, and again, we've got a could be true. Here's where people get frustrated again. They look at this and go, all right, I got a U here. I have one rule about U, but is it UX or XU? I don't know which one it is. If you don't know which one it is, drop that line down. In one of them, you make it XU, and the other one, you make it UX. Now, let's take a look at what we've got at this juncture. I've got a TW that I still need to get in there. Well, where am I going to get that TW? Well, I can't put TW here in 1 and 4 because T can't go in slot number 1. So in this sketch, I have to put TW over here. If I'm going to get TW into the second sketch, where am I going to put it? I'm going to have to put it here because there's nowhere else it can fit. But take a look at what just happened in this sketch. I've got W and X next to each other, and according to our 4th rule, W and X can't be next to each other, which means this is not the sketch. Now I know that this is the real sketch. This was the real sketch all along. And once again, right off to the side, who do I have left over to get into this sketch? And just like in the previous question, I've got R, S, and Z left to get into this sketch. I can't get both S and Z in 5 and 6 because they can't be next to each other. So one of S or Z is going here, and then R is going in 5 or 6 with the other of S or Z. I don't know which one it's going to be. We take a look at the answers. A, R is in 1. No, S or Z is in 1. B, R is in 5. Yep, it's blank. That's my could be true. And the answer is B, and you're done. You get the right answer, you move on. You don't check the others. Feel free to check your answer against this sketch, but it has to be B at that point. On we go. Number 9, drop the line down. Z is mentioned in Chapter 7. We're looking for something that could be true. So we put a Z up there. We go to our rules. What do we know about Z? Well, S can't be next to it. Well, that doesn't tell us a whole hell of a lot because if S isn't next to it, S could still be in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's frustrating. But once again, we have this giant unit of a T and a W that doesn't have many places it can go. Drop that line down. 2 sketches, in one of which TW, in one of which TW. Pretty good. Now, let's go and take a look. Who else can we get in here? We have still got this big UX unit. Now, U and X can't go 3 and 4 here because then X would be next to W. That violates the rule. But it could go XU. But do I know if U or X goes here? I don't know. And here's the thing, you can like bemoan your fate, you can wail at the gods and decry how unfair this all is, but if you're smart on test day, you'll just drop that line quickly, and in one of them you'll go, all right, this is XU, and the other one you'll go, it's X/U, U/X. Remember, this has to be U next to the W because it can't be X, but here you don't really know. Who's left over to go into this sketch? You've got R and S. Where are they going? Who knows? R/S, S/R, R/S, S/R. This is just a could be true question on number 9. Again, we got a lot of could be trues here, but let's go through them one by one. A, R is in 3. No, 3 is definitely going to be T. We've got B, S is in 3. No, it's X or T is going to be in 3. C, T is in 4. No, 4 is U or X or R or S. We don't know which one. D, U is in chapter 1. And guess what? We have a sketch right here where U is in 1. And we are done. And it's D. Drop the line down. We're just looking for what could be true in question number 10. And this is frustrating because which following could be true questions you might genuinely need to test the answers. So one thing you can use is old sketches. The first thing you should do is check old sketches. Check A. R is in 7. Take a look at all your sketches you made. Did you ever have R in 7? No, you never did, unfortunately. All right, we go into B. T is in chapter 5. Did we ever make a sketch where T was in 5? No, we didn't. C, U is in 7. Did we ever make a sketch where U is in 7? Nope, we didn't. D, W is mentioned in 3. Did we ever make one where W is mentioned in 3? We didn't. And E, X is mentioned in 6. Did we ever make a sketch where X was mentioned in 6? We didn't. And that sucks because who knows now what the answer is? Now we actually have to go in and test the answer choices. But answer choice A is going to be a great one to test. Why? Because it's about R. How many rules did you have about R? And the answer is you had 0 rules about R. Your players in the game who don't have rules associated with them are more likely to be could be trues. Why are they more likely to be could be trues? Well, could be just true questions are asking what's possible, and if there's no rules encumbering one of your players in the game, then they could do basically whatever they want. R is probably going to be the correct answer. So what do? We make a quick sketch just to validate it. Here's T, here's W, and remember, we're just jamming stuff in, going to make it work however we want. There's X, there's U. Who's left over? I got S and Z left over. I stick them in there. Does this violate any rules? No, it doesn't. And guess what? Sometimes the answer is A, and the test makers smile upon you in their benevolence. Answer's A. On we go to question 11. Now, these are the worst questions, rule substitution questions, saying we're going to swap out one of the rules, and it's going to have the exact same effect. And here, they want to know what's going to have the same effect as T not being in slot number 1. Well, what would have the same effect as T not being in slot number 1? Who else affects T? And you actually only have one other rule about T, and that's T is 2 spaces before W. So if we're looking to replace T can't be in slot number 1, what else would force T not to be in slot number 1? Well, if W is in slot 4. Because if we did make a sketch where W was in slot 4, 2 spaces before, we'd have T in 1. Are there any answer choices that say T is not in W is not in slot 4? Yeah. B. Question 11 says that. And this game is done. How long should this game take you? It's a lot of sketches. I'm not going to lie to you. If you take a look at what I did here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 sketches, but you have plenty of room on test day. You have acres of room on that page. You'll have plenty of room to do this, but also notice I did not hesitate. Every single question here, for the most part, said, make 2 sketches, make 2 sketches. I didn't try to keep those pieces floating around in my head. Instead, I quickly got them down on paper and made the 2 sketches the game demanded of me. And either the sketches worked, or in one case, the sketch failed and led me right back to the correct sketch. But as long as you don't hesitate, you're solving these questions with your pencil, not with your mind, and you can get through these quickly and effectively. All right, hope that helped.